Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to discuss why I think Nigel Farage is still hiding in the Reform UK shadows and how it may link in with the US presidential elections. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So last week, Reform UK held a major press conference. We knew it was happening in advance, and the speculation was an announcement that Nigel Farage would be leading their election campaign. In the event, it was to announce that former Brexit Party MEP Ben Habib would be standing as Reform UK's candidate for the high-profile Wellingborough by-election taking place next month in all probability. Now, this was still very interesting news, as I discussed last week, but a lot of the focus was still on Nigel Farage. Will he be stepping out of the shadows to get involved in the campaign directly, as he did for the Brexit Party in 2019? This is what the current party leader Richard Tice was being asked. His response was that Nigel Farage was still deciding how he can best help the cause. My view is he's facing a little bit of a conflict, and I think it's related to the US presidential elections this year. Last night, during my regular Saturday stream, I was asked if Nigel Farage plans on going large on the presidential campaign tour this year with his mate, the Orange One. This channel, of course, attracts all the best and brightest. Brilliant question, and absolutely, I think that's what he's planning on, in my opinion, and it links in with why I think Nigel Farage is currently biding his time with Reform UK. After all, if the election is called in May, and we strongly believe the Tories are planning on doing that, if the election is called in May, Reform UK need to be implementing their campaign strategy now. All the other political parties are. Labour, the Conservatives, the SNP, the Lib Dems, everyone has started on a campaign footing in the last week. They're all getting ready for May. All of them. Reform UK need to do the same thing. And if their strategy is going to be based around Nigel Farage, he needs to be wheeled out to get the momentum going in their favour. He can't just rock up a few weeks before the election. It makes no sense for him to still be lurking in the shadows if he intends to lead Reform UK into the election. The election campaign has already begun. So the conclusion I draw is that Nigel Farage still does not know if he will be helping Reform UK directly. So what does that decision depend on? I think timing. Back in 2020, during the last presidential elections in the United States, the plan was for the Trump campaign to use Nigel Farage heavily. I got the impression that he was looking forward to a high-profile and, above all, lucrative tour supporting the Orange One's campaign. The dollar signs were definitely in his eyes. Then, disaster. COVID completely knackered those plans. Lots of travel restrictions. Oh my goodness, he played a much lower key role in that campaign. But the Trump bandwagon is gearing up again. Assuming the bleach injector can avoid legal pitfalls, which I think everyone thinks he can, he's going to be the Republican candidate, and that circus is going to start up again. Farage has another crack at supporting the Orange One for huge sacks of cash. A payday to put his jungle exploits in the shade. And this is why I think he's being coy about the role he will play in the UK general election this year. Because there are two windows believed to be open for the Tories. The first is May the 2nd. If the election is called for May, I think Farage will jump into the fray. But if my speculation is correct, only when Sunak formally calls the election. Until it's certain it's going to be May, I think he'll hedge. Because if the election is delayed until November, Farage would have to choose between being a prominent campaigner for Reform UK in this country and supporting the Orange One for the aforementioned huge sacks of cash and favours earned from a grateful would-be American presidential dictator. Which one do you think Farage will prioritise? He is, above all else, a grifter. The riches are just far greater in America. He'll lend his support to Reform UK, I suspect, but in video messages recorded in Alabama rather than leading the charge on the streets of Britain. So in answer to the question in the stream last night, absolutely I think Farage wants to get involved in the presidential campaign. I think he will enjoy the plaudits. I think he will enjoy rubbing shoulders with Trump and the sacks of cash that we'll hope to earn from the exercise. If he were to offer to lead Reform UK's campaign now, he would be committing himself to doing so even if the election is held in November, ruling out a supporting role in Trump's campaign. Either that, or he would have to abandon Reform UK, prioritising American over British politics in a move that could see him lose favour even amongst his own supporters. I think he's willing to get involved on the front line, as long as it doesn't interfere with milking his autumn cash cow in America. Time will tell, of course. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.